Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's me. Welcome back to the stream. We're back in FS 2020 and we are back to fly the Phenom once again. In our last episode, we went to Canada by way of Burlington and eventually Quebec City. And now we're in Quebec City and we're going to leave CYQB, Charlie Yankee Quebec Bravo, which is Quebec City's airport, Jean Lesage International, and we're going to be going to Charlottetown. We're going to be visiting Prince Edward Island on stream for the first time since what, 2021? 22? I know it's been a long time since we've flown out there, but it's a little too cold out here. Let's get inside the plane and start getting set up. Whew, that's a little better. It's also really quiet. All right, let's see what we can do. Welcome aboard, everybody. We are back at the helm of November 6532 Zulu, one of my favorite call signs of all time, and one of my favorite aircraft of all time, the Phenom 100, manufactured by Embraer, ported to flight sim courtesy of Cockspur Dev Team. So, we do have this bird, and we are going to get started. I've flown it enough to understand most of the flows and really just enjoy doing stuff. So let me think. We'll play it by ear. We'll have some fun with this. Now, the bird is not hooked up to any equipment yet, so we're going to put on chocks and we're going to turn on the GPU. GPU is on, and let's go ahead and turn the fuel pumps to auto, back signs, and we're going to turn ELT back on to armed. We will start getting PAX oxygen control set, bus tie to auto, GPU in use, which means my avionics should be coming on shortly, and I'm going to turn my batteries on. Okay, so not a whole lot of daylight, so I'm not going to spend too much time messing around. Get the nav lights turned on, we'll get the upwash so that our passengers can find their things, stow their bags, and get ready for departure, and we will depart momentarily. These two flights are not going to be on VATSIM today. I peeked, and there really wasn't that much coverage to begin with, and I just feel like being a bit chill today. So, none of that hot stuff. We're just going to go ahead and turn on the flight director, turn on the yaw damper, and start planning our flight right now. The flight from Quebec City to Charlottetown is probably going to take something like 45 minutes. So, flight level 190 or flight level 210 is going to be our target altitude. But I get the feeling 190 is going to be a more comfortable cruise because I don't think we're going to be up there very long. So I'm going to set 19,000 on my pilot display, and we're going to make sure we have the approach locked in. We'll be taking ILS runway 3 at Charlottetown, and the frequency is going to be 110.9er with a course heading of 127. So 110.9er is what we have, and set it up over here as well. 110.9er set, and course heading 027. So 027 course 1. Confirming 027. There we go. Hopefully it won't be as windy as it was last time. You guys remember how bad the Burlington approach was. It got scary for a bit, not gonna lie. It did get scary. Scary in the sense like, I don't want to crash. But really, that was bad winds. Like 42 knot gusts. That was challenging for this little bird. So we've got the ILS frequencies tuned. Let's go ahead and start working on our flight plan. Again, we're going to be flying from CYQB to CYYG. CYQB. I'm just outside the Discovery Air FBO. And we're going to be using runway 06, so we got a little bit of time to think about our prep for our departure. We got a couple of waypoints en route. We're going to be using PQI and YMZ. PQI is Presque Isle, Papa, Quebec, India. Presque Isle, and Presque Isle, and then we're going to be doing Yankee Mike Zulu, which is Moncton. And then we're going to go to our destination, which is YYG. Oh, wait, hold on. Charlie Yankee Yankee Golf. There we go. I've started to really appreciate flying in Canada because you guys have some beautiful destinations to go to. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get our departure sorted. We will be taking the, I believe, Sepib 2 departure, unless I have it wrong. Yes, yes, and we'll be taking the Fleur transition. We'll load that, and there is no arrival that we fly into Prince Edward Island. I think we have everything that we need. So let's see. Sepib, Sebip, excuse me, and then Fleur. And then Papa Quebec India, Yankee Mike Zulu, and then destination. If we go missed, we're going to be going to. Oh, just straight out? Okay. I mean, if we go missed, I'm assuming we'll do left traffic back to maybe Pilku and try again. That's on the ILS. Okay, so the ILS frequency is tuned, and we have the flight plan set. So that's it. Flight plan is set. Let's go ahead and start tuning ourselves for departure. Let's do transponder code. Altitude reporting, we're going to go do 2257, and minimums at Charlottetown. Glide slope, we're going to do 358 feet. Barrow. .360 is fine. And that's it. So Barrow is set, and that's it. That's our flight plan. Oh, yes. There is the thing about making sure we have enough fuel. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and fly with at least 2,600 pounds today, because even though it's a short flight, I don't want to run into a bingo fuel situation. So let's go ahead and just prep. At somewhere between 24 to 2,600 pounds of fuel should be fine. Yeah, it's fine. And a lighter payload today, let's just say roughly 545 pounds. And are we taking more maybe? Okay, 626. That's fine. That's fine. There we are. So we've got our payload, which probably means we're going to be landing a little bit on the heavy side. Are we going to be overweight for landing? That's actually a pretty good question. Let me see. So the maximum landing weight for the Phenom 100 EV apparently is just shy of 10,000 pounds. Let me confirm that. Yeah, like about 9,000, a little bit less than 9,900 pounds. So what is our weight right now? Okay, there we go. 9,939 pounds. And max is 10.4. So I think we'll be fine. We're gonna burn something like 5 to 600 pounds of fuel for the flight. So I would say we're gonna be probably around maybe 8,500 to 9,000 pounds when we land. So I think we're gonna be fine. That's fine. I'll take that. I'll take that. All right. So we got our prep done. All right, folks in the back. Hopefully you are prepped to go. Our usual assembled cast. So that's fine. Let's turn off the upwash and let's go ahead and get them ready to go. Okay, before we do that, let's just go through the checklist real fast. Courtesy light checked. Emergency stuff is emergency. Water, document manuals, and charts. We're fine on chart data. Let's see. Oxygen supply control not PAX auto. We've pushed the oxygen bottle valve in. Reminder to myself to make sure we do pressurization. So pressurization auto. We do bleed both, and we're going to put the ignition switches to auto. And we do confirm throttle is idle, flaps are currently at 0. So let's see, supply control now PAX auto, oxygen mask regulator, electrical panel, circuit breakers, fuel pumps. Fuel pumps are auto, transfer, or excuse me, fuel transfer is now pushed out. And, oh, excuse me, it's not pushed in, it's pushed out. Do hydro pumps and ADS AOE now to auto. We're going to put window heats on. And I don't think we'll need anti-ice for today. Hey, good to see you, Laz. Welcome aboard. We're getting ready to fly to the Canadian Maritimes. We might visit both Prince Edward Island and St. Pierre, which is actually a French territory, which is really cool, unless we just do one flight today. We'll see how it turns out. Start stop knobs. They are in the stop position, and flap 0, parking brake is currently set, and seats and belts should be fine. Lyles, just a quick question. Let me know if my volume levels are fine. I'm trying to give you guys more sim volume, and I don't want to be too peaky, but I know in the past my mic volume has been low, and my sim volume has been low. I'm really trying to pay attention to that, I should say. Before start, let's see, winds and aircraft orientation, we should be fine for takeoff. Actually, let me double check the weather at Quebec City. Quebec City weather, winds 070 gusts 28. So the winds are gusting, but we're not going to have a problem. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you letting me know. So winds 070 gusts 28, visibility 30 statute miles, clouds few at 3,000, broken at 1,600, overcast at 210. So we're going to be flying through clouds today, but it's going to be a fast flight. Temperature 01, dew point -05, the altimeter is 3037. Which means we need to set our altimeter to that. And let's see, gear pin steering link, this is not locked. And maintenance VOR, flight log lights, engine ignition, auto, thrust levers idle, batteries on, GPU as required. We won't need the GPU after we go through the checklist. Circuit breakers are non-essential. Nav databases are fine. We already checked oxygen, CVR, fuel quality and balance. We have 2,600, actually 2,400 pounds of fuel, which should be more than enough for today's flight. Oxygen pressure. Oxygen pressure is... Well, okay. Cabin is set. Cabin pressurizes automatically. Pitch trim down here. Let's pitch for about 5 because we've got extra stuff. And actually, you know what? Let's do 7. And we'll see whether that's enough or too much. We're going to test. We have our flight plan in. Weather radar weights, takeoff speeds, flight director, we have our squawk code and our taxi takeoff brief. And when we take off, we're going to go to runway 06. We're at the Discovery Air Terminal at the far end of the airport, which means we're going to basically depart, taxi down Delta, cross runway 11 or 29er, and that turns into taxiway Golf. So taxiway Delta, cross runway 11, Golf to 06. And that's it. Now we can do our tests and get out of here, unless I missed anything. Nope, I think we're good. All right, so annunciator lights, we'll do real quick check. Hey, two-faced disc, my friend, so good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you and the missus are doing well. Okay, annunciator lights, we do have lights showing up. Fire warning.
Fire.
And stall warning.
Stall. Stall.
Okay, that's it. We should be fine. Immediately prior to start, what do? Doors. Doors closed. We do not have the luggage door open. Yep, emergency exit doors, of course, are closed. There's only one exit door that's an emergency, actually. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're going to be leaving Quebec City momentarily for like a sunset flight out to Prince Edward Island. Battery voltage, check. We're no longer going to need the GPU. And since the parking brake is on, we can turn the chocks away. Alright, battery voltage is currently discharging at 25.4 volts. And signs are set. In-flight entertainment off, air conditioning auto, ADS AOA is on. Or in this case, auto. And that's it. Alright, let's get this bird started up, shall we? Here we go. Alright, nobody on the left or right of us. We should be good to get out of here. Engine 2, please. Ooh, there we go. ITC is up on engine 2. Good start. Lyles and Two-Faced Disc, hopefully you're having a very good afternoon. And to everybody that's tuning in and lurking, thank you for the lurk. Feel free to find a seat, grab something warm or cold to drink. I'm going to be your lurking entertainment for the next probably about hour and a half at least before we decide whether or not we're going to do a second flight today. Engine 2 is a good start. Let's do engine 1. All right, we lit up engine 1, all right. All right, looks like 2 good starts. Let's do the after start checklist. Engine instruments are good. GPU is disconnected and gone. Flight controls, let's do a quick check. Full left, full right, full back, full forward, and full left and full right rudders. Flight controls free and clear. E-like emergency light we'd normally check in the old FSX Coronado, but we can't push that button anymore, so that's irrelevant. Trims are set. Flaps, we'll set for flaps, I'm going to say 1. And takeoff temp. Outside temp is 1 degree. And ice protection is required. Blockout time, we're going to be departing. UTC is currently, what? 22:05, 22:06 Zulu. So there we go. Just a bit past the hour. Oh, that's fantastic. Honolulu to Seoul in a triple. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I'll catch up with you in chat once we get underway. I will say, past couple of weeks have been an adventure for me. I mean, if you've been following on my Discord or watching a few of my streams in the background, you know that Mrs. Digi and I have been in and out of the emergency room. She's been trying to get on this new medical regimen, which is just messing with her for sleep. But I think right now we're actually doing okay. I mean, right at the moment. When she tries to go to sleep, though, it's a different story. But Lord willing, she'll get more rest tonight. And thank you. Happy Easter weekend to you, my friend. There is an empty tomb in Jerusalem. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Before takeoff, there's no before taxi checklist, but we'll check brakes, takeoff config, flight instruments, and CAS messages before we take off, and check for ice protection, lights, and time off. So now we're good. So as far as I know, we're going to make a right turn, and then another right turn to taxi down Delta by turning left on Delta. That's fine and good. All right. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting out of here momentarily. Parking brake release. Thank you so much, Two-Faced. Really appreciate your support. I know the past few months for us have been less than ideal, but really grateful for the support of all of the DigiFam, and also just looking forward to hopefully an easier time very soon. As the hope, of course, is that we get her on a regimen where she can take meds that are going to be, taking much better care of her. That's the hope. That is definitely the hope. Okay, so we are getting out of Quebec City, or Jean Lesage International, and we are doing the deal. Looks like a sunset flight out of here is what's on tap. Okay, I forgot, but there's still time for me to fire up. Still time for me to fire up FSLTL, just so we have some traffic on the way out. I don't have any traffic. I don't have any, excuse me, default um, online traffic on anymore. I found out FSLTL does a bit of a better job in terms of getting real world traffic piped into the sim. So that's good. All right, nothing, and boom. Now we should be fine. We might see a few planes at the terminal as we get out of here. Okay, fair enough. All right, we're gonna cross the runway soon anyway, so I'll turn my strobe lights on. And yeah, I might as well put the landing lights on anyway at this point. Toothpaste, I don't know if you were here yesterday, but when we went to Burlington, we had some real strong winds um, landing. Like it was gusting over 40 knots. Okay, now my transponder is altitude reporting, so I don't know why we're not actually doing anything in terms of showing traffic. Hang on. Did I forget to do something? Let's see. We are we're altitude reporting. Is there something that I forgot to do? Or is that just saying there's no traffic in the area? Let's see. Yeah, we're watching for traffic, but it's like, okay. I think this happened to me last time, and I was just trying to figure out what the deal was. So hang on. um, we definitely have traffic, but let me see. Toronto to Rome. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so there's nobody in the area, so I guess it just means it's not detecting any traffic. That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. All right, so flight one of potentially two is going to be Quebec City to Charlottetown. Yep, welcome to Taxiway Golf, everybody. And amazing but true, there is apparently still precip that of the snowy kind that's in Quebec City area. I'm not sure what that is or why my view is suddenly complaining. Yeah, I wonder what that was about. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's all right. Know what is inbound or outbound? So let's just go ahead and continue. But you know what? Quick ramp check before we get on the active runway or the departing runway. Checklist real fast. Before departure, again, brakes, takeoff configuration, we are set for departure. Flight instruments, we should be good. No cast messages other than the parking brake being on. Ice protection is required. Lights are already set, and time off is 22:14 Zulu, which means we spent, I think, about 5 minutes taxiing. I thought it was 22:06 or something like that. All right, cool. After takeoff, landing gear up, flap zero, thrust levers set for climb. Although I usually keep mine on takeoff because of the flight level change speed that we set. Yaw damper on and pressurization will be checked. Okay, that's it. Again, 0 people inbound right now, and should be 0 people outbound because there's nobody here. All right, let's go. Bracket breaker removed. Let's give it the juice. There's like a slight incline here. And start the clock. Engines are stable, holding at 51.5%. Let's give it the go beans. Here we go. Airspeed's alive. And 80 knots. A little bit all over the runway. Come on, keep that center line. Come on, Dinge. Okay, here we go. 120. Let's rotate slowly. And up she goes. Positive rate, gear up. And let's take our flaps in, please. Alright, 500 autopilot. Let's do nav. Flight level change. Takeoff power set. Cabin is pressurizing. And we are direct to Sebib on the Sebib 2 departure. OIT is 1 below. And I am checking. I don't see any traffic, but apparently there is some traffic detection. We have a weather system in play to the east of us, to the northeast of us, east-northeast. It could have not been picking up traffic because we're on the ground, actually, so that's fine. Okay, we're in the clouds now. Okay, here we go. Flight 1, everybody. Hopefully of 2, but we'll see how I feel. (2,700 feet per minute, or 26, given airspeed. You know what? We'll give it more of the beans. Next waypoint should be a transition out of the departure at Quebec. Wow. Lots of rolling hills out here. Beautiful. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you are having a good Saturday afternoon. We are in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This particular variant is FS 2020. This was the original reboot of the Microsoft Flight Simulator franchise that released in the summer of 2020. Literally, I think it was August 18th when it dropped. So I'm flying this one because I have a much more consistent experience with the Phenom 100. Although I'm kind of curious to see if it did any tweaks to it for FS 2024. I have been dropping scenery into 2020 and 2024 as I can, or as I find that it's compatible or not compatible, for the sake of flying this and or other planes. I generally tend to have a more performant experience in 2020 than 2024 because of the fact that in 2020 I can choose to use DX11 as opposed to being mandated to use DirectX 12 in 2024, which isn't a problem in and of itself. It's just that DX12 lends towards wanting to use more of my VRAM. And because I have a 3060 Ti with only 8 gigs of VRAM, that means my VRAM gets used pretty quick. So I've adjusted by basically lowering terrain level of detail, by using low texture resolution, and adjusting, what am I trying to say? Adjusting graphic detail levels accordingly, which I think in general makes it easier to use. Well, the adjustments that I've made to the graphics in FS 2024 make it more consistent. Make the performance more consistent, I should say. So I'm happy with the results that I've gotten so far. I should say they're better, or they're in line with what my computer's capable of doing right now. But um, one of the things that I'm happy that happened as a result of me doing this was I eventually started using my flight stick and throttle quadrant again, as opposed to just flying with my gamepad. If you've been following me for any stretch of time recently, you knew that about maybe 1 or 2 months ago, I was barely using the joystick and throttle at all because I just felt real lazy, and I was flying like the 737, the 787 with a gamepad, and by and large, um, the only thing that sucked about it was landing, but otherwise, ground roll and takeoff was generally okay as long as the plane didn't wobble too much down the runway or departure. I think the only problem was if the engines made the plane go to one side, or if approach was particularly difficult because the travel or the sensitivity on the gamepad, super high. I could have probably gone and adjusted the mapping so that I would have given myself more room, so to speak. But at the same time, it's just like flying with a joystick and throttle, you know, much bigger difference than I remember. So I was just like, hey, this is good. I can have fun flying these planes again now. It wasn't that I wasn't having no fun flying the planes. It's just that I was so lazy that I wasn't actually using the joysticks and stuff that I had. So I'm glad that changed. I've also, of course, been, working with Mrs. Digi to take care of her and to help her experience as she goes through her regimen, her care regimen be a lot better. Oh wow, are you serious? We're already at flight level 190 and we're barely even out of Toronto. That probably means we could cruise as high as flight level 2-1 or even 2-3. I'll be fine with 210, and I will climb at, I'd say 190 knots at this point, since we're past transition altitude, and I don't want to climb too quick. I don't want to lose too much of my speed, I should say. So yeah, past couple months have been rough for her with regards to just getting in a good routine, and one of the biggest issues that we found was that she had trouble sleeping. So I'm hoping she gets to a place where she can really settle in, and she can have a more restful evening. That is what I want for her. That's my prayer. Otherwise, I'm literally flabbergasted that we are just rolling into April already. I'm seriously, and I mean seriously, blown away by this. It's almost unbelievable that we have April to look into now, and then May and June. And I know some of you guys are going to be going to Flight Sim Expo at the convention center, I think, which is in St. Paul in Minnesota. Hey, hope you have a great time. I will most likely not be attending because we've tried, I think, the past few years, and I think right now we're just doing our best to get our stuff settled in terms of finances and opportunity. If I had the opportunity, knowing what I knew now, I'd be tempted to go. I think I'd be tempted to go. I'm curious to see where they'll be heading the year after this, but I'm also, I think, working on a few things. I would like to go see some of my friends up in New England this summer, um, depending on how things change. I was hoping to snag a new, employment opportunity to be able to better take care of my family and also, stretch into uh, not having as many, financial problems as we had before. You know what? Let's see, how far away are we from, oh, sheesh, 90 miles? Let's do this. Let's climb to flight level 230 since we're going to be flirting with the stripe, and we will climb at what I think is our, yeah, 0.59er. Or at this rate, just use vertical speed and climb at 800 feet per minute and just let it go. I've been a fan of flying the Embraer for a long time, since my days in FSX, and the dev team at Coxper have definitely allowed me to enjoy flying it again. It's a great bird. It's just, you know, it's still expensive in real life. I think this plane, the EV version, probably costs like about 5 million or 4 million and change. In my life right now, I'm definitely in the and change compartment, not in the 4 million, but it's a fun little plane. It's got, I think, roughly a 750 nautical mile, I would say, comfy cruise. Supposedly, you can go up to, I think, 1100 nautical miles with this thing, but at the same time, that would be like pushing it. I think most people will take this somewhere in 750, maybe 800 nautical mile bursts. So if I was flying to, say, Orlando and I was leaving Philly International at the Atlantic Aviation Terminal, I would probably fly Philly to, I'm going to say Wilmington or Myrtle Beach, and then refuel there, and then go to Orlando Executive, or go to maybe Daytona, or go to Vero Beach and drive up to Orlando or something. Okay, so 230, I think 230 is going to be just fine for us for today. Yeah, we've got about 70 nautical miles to, less than 70 nautical miles, less than 69 nautical miles to Presque Isle, which is Papa Quebec, India, this VOR we're coming up on. So let's go ahead and make sure we're set for our approach into Charlottetown. I would say I could have probably gone even as high as flight level 310 in the bird. And we probably still have time to do that, don't we? Because we have 146 nautical miles between Presque Isle and Moncton, and then 59 nautical miles between Moncton and the ILS approach. The ILS approach has an initial approach fix at, I think, 2,000. So if I need to be at 2,000 in roughly 60 nautical miles, and we have roughly 200 nautical miles between where we are and where we're going, that's like 29, which is like 27, 90. 90 would be, let's see, 200, 146. So I would say 40. It'd be about 40 nautical miles short of Moncton. So we could do flight level 310 right now, actually. We could. Which is good because, again, this bird likes to go fast. And because I haven't found my flight plan anywhere, and because I'm just flying with, AI traffic, doesn't matter, we're having a good time. Okay, no immediate traffic in the area, so we're fine. We can keep climbing. I might try doing some X-Plane 12 flights in the not too distant future on stream. I got X-Plane to a point where I have downloaded Ortho and a few airliners that I like. I haven't tried flying the Mustang or the Gulfstream or any kind of business jet in that sim for a long time. I might do that again. I'm not sure if I want to, honestly, because I like flying airliners there. And the Totless A319 is just, you know, beautiful in terms of the experience that I have flying the bird. So I might do some European or some domestic flights in XB12 just to see the difference, just to enjoy the other sim again, because it's been a long time since I've done that. I've just been trying to do stuff. I've been trying to work hard. I've been trying to get stuff done around the house, and trying to give myself more grace to understand. Hey, dude, you're going for it at work. You're cooking your brain for a reason. You know, it's okay to understand you're a bit tired, but the journey is worth the trouble. At the current rate that I'm going at, we should probably hit flight level 310 before we get to Presque Isle, so I think we'll be fine. And we might just get above these clouds, even if it's just for a little bit. We're not climbing that fast. Depending on the clouds, though, we might get a little bit of turbulence, so we'll see. Thanks to everybody that's tuning in today or watching the replay. I am in Flight Simulator 2020 and we are flying the Phenom 100. We took off about a little bit less than 20 minutes ago from Quebec City and we're flying out to Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island. Depending on how much time I have or anything else that I need to do, I might call it quits after we get to PEI at Charlie Yankee Yankee Golf. I downloaded another flightsim.to scenery. It looks really nice. And I think when I get there, I'll know for a fact whether or not I'm going to continue. I was sizing up my options earlier, and I was like, well, I could fly, I could drive, or I could play, retro games. And I think, I know that I can play like retro games virtually anytime. So it kind of makes me stop and think like, hey, do I really want to do retro games on stream or do I want to play something else? Typically, I will like relegate retro gaming to purely, and I mean purely, a cool down, like a chill move. I generally like to stream flight sim. I know it's been a while since we've done scenery dev streams. I should probably get back to that very, very soon. But at the same time, can we climb faster? Actually, let's see. We should be able to climb faster. No more than 1,000 feet per minute. I mean, we've got the overhead to fly a little bit more slowly. Oof, man, a little bit tired. I got like 3 hours of sleep yesterday, and then I just crashed last night. I crashed out at I think somewhere around 2 a.m. Misty was having a really hard time falling asleep, and I think eventually she did fall asleep, and then I just literally just conked out. I woke up this morning around like 10, and I was like, okay, wow, I slept like 8 hours straight, which is and not entirely out of the way for me for like a Saturday, but it's been a while since I actively thought about that, so happy to have rested up a bit. We did some housework earlier, cleaned up, rearranged stuff, cleaned some more. Did laundry. So right now I'm cool, and I moved. Let's see, moved the love seat, moved some furniture. So got a workout in. So definitely got some muscle development done today. I'm looking forward to spending time with family tomorrow and not having to move anything around per se, and just taking a chill pill. Next week, I generally don't know. I don't know what's going to be going on. I know we have some. I know I have some IRL work to do. I don't know what's coming, so I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy it as it comes. Doing my best to take it one step at a time. I will say I was starting to mess around with my Raspberry Pi machines again. I have a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, I believe, that I got. I forget when I got that. I got that like 2018, 2019. I was trying to do something with an ADSB receiver, but the SD card I had in it couldn't have been more than like a year old. But unfortunately, I think trying to install something and having it bogged down with whatever process it was running, like it crashed. So I think I lost one of my micro SD cards. I had a spare, but I think that other SD card is basically toast. I, you know, it took me a while to reflash an OS onto the card, and then to get the OS back up to where more or less where it was before. So it's fine. Um, I'm good now, but a little bit of a lesson, I guess. I mean, if I really want to mess around with running a whole bunch of software, I'm going to use probably the other Raspberry Pi that I have, not the three. And I use the three for just really focused, chill, methodically slow web browsing or like old school development. I used to work in not work in I used to use um, um, ASP.NET and VB.NET for development, and I used to code in Visual Basic when I was still in school, in Basic actually, the old programming language, like 10 print hello world, 20 go to 10, infinite loop, and I think the three would probably be a great machine for the classic super slow. You actually have to do something else while it's working development days, I guess you could say. Tyro, hello. Good to see you. Yes. We talk programming here. I like Microsoft Basic, Q Basic, DOS Basic, whatever you call Basic. Basic was a part of my upbringing. So I remember playing games where the graphics were ASCII characters, which to me is so near and dear to my heart that I remember those days, and I'm really seriously thinking about taking the Pi and like getting Basic and getting back into that. I program for a living. I usually use .NET languages, and I'm trying to get into Python. I'm trying to get into edge development, not necessarily embedded software development, but I mean I did embedded software development when I messed around with the Game Boy Advance system, the GBA. To actually program and put something on a flash card, you have to have a Game Boy game, and you can use like libraries in, like say, Visual Studio, and output something which is then compiled into something for a GBA cart, or you could use I think like Ham Basic or like Ham Studio or whatever. I I know there's plenty of ways of making GBA games. I think there's some low code ways of making GBA games, but believe it or not, I started getting interested in assembly language again because I saw some YouTube videos about people actually coding Nintendo and Super Nintendo games in assembly, and I'm like, wow. I mean, you're gonna get low level and you're gonna get a lot of performance out of it, I'm assuming. Okay, Java. I messed around with Java for Android years ago when I wrote a couple of apps and when I worked with an external company remotely. But yeah, I mean, you're in Java, I'm in C Sharp. It's not that much of a gap. Okay, how close am I to? All right, when I'm 40 nautical miles out from Moncton, I need to begin my descent. Yeah. Okay, we are flying through some clouds, so even though I'm not seeing any precip and I'm not getting any warnings, I'm going to turn on my ice protection. Yeah, I like the idea of coding. I'm just not like I've said this before on stream. I like software development. I just don't like where the industry is right now, personally. And of course, opinions are free and you're always welcome to yours. I'm just saying from my perspective, the way that I've coded and the way that I've written software over the past, it's going to be this year's already 14 years. I I wish that we weren't so focused on speed. I wish that we weren't so focused on creating things so quickly to, go right to the next thing. Because you're you're usually not going to be in a situation where you're working for a company. How fast am I going? Wow, 487 knot ground speed in a Phenom? Look at that tailwind though. Sheesh. Yeah, like I remember writing software, when smartphones were just beginning to become a thing, and we'd work with other people and we'd have more of a connection to systems and whatnot. I I'm not a fan. Like, you can dismiss my stuff if you want to. It's okay. I just wish that we were a bit more focused on doing stuff to not just improve, not just learn without needing to use AI, because I can definitely see the benefits of learning with AI if you want to get your hands dirty in something really fast. I just wish that we were more personable. But that's not AI's fault. That's our fault. I think in general, we just got focused on getting to a result, getting to solving problems as quickly as possible so we could do more problem solving and more problem solving and more problem solving. But it's like, okay, when do you take a break? When do you catch your breath? When do you churn the next senior developers and architects and staff engineers, and when do you bring up the next generation? Because I think people saw AI come out and they're like, huh, programming jobs are going to go away. Huh. No, no, they're not. They're not. Like someone once said, programmers have been trying to put themselves out of business for decades. AI is no different. So it's not an issue. It's more like how fast do you want to go? How much money do you want to spend? I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic with regards to old school software development as well. Rudy, good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome. We're just chilling in the Phenom 100. We're flying to Prince Edward Island in Canada, in what they call the Maritime region in the east, and we are probably going to be descending in about 5 or 10 minutes. But we've just been catching up, talking about life and doing software development stuff. Um, I, Rudy, you may not know this about me, but once I messed around with a GBA, a Game Boy Advance system. I got my hands on a flash cart and I was actually coding video games for the Game Boy Advance. Not with a company, but just for fun. So we were talking about like, old school development, talking about like the basic programming language, assembly, and some of the stuff that we were doing for fun. Like literally somewhere in my file library, I found the GBA image of me creating a Pong game where you like play Pong with cars. I might have to get back into that and relearn it, or I might do it like the old-fashioned way with assembly language. It's just that you know how you get like when you're living life and you just get busy with life. You get busy with trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done. And I'm not talking about the chores and the housework, although that does take up time as well. I'm just saying you get to a place where it's not that all you know is being busy, but you wake up one day and you're like, wait a minute, why is my life going by so fast? Why am I okay with just being busy all the time? Like, as a kid, I remember getting bored. As a kid, I remember there weren't that many things that I had to do, but my parents gave me a list of things to do, so I did them. Otherwise, there were consequences. Um, and yeah, like we were talking about, we're talking about like life as like a software developer and how we wish things weren't going by so fast. Um, as a software developer, I can tell you AI is not coming for my job, at least not in my lifetime. I would say we've used it as a hammer to try to nail down problems even faster than we are right now. But it's like I said earlier, like what is the point of solving problems really quickly if you don't um, really take the time to reap the benefits of the solved problem. If you just go from problem to problem to problem to problem to problem, it's like you just like keep solving stuff in life. It's like you hit retirement and then keel over dead. And that's not me being morbid. It's just like if you just work yourself into solving problems left, right, and center, and you don't give yourself a chance to chill, you're eventually just gonna get to a point where you just go, and that's it, and you're done. And it's like, you know, you get up there, and maybe Yahweh will be like, dude, did you have to spend every waking second solving problems left, right, and center? So it's like, to me, it's kind of sobering. You never have enough time. Yes. What did you need me to bring in for you? Everything? Okay, sweetie. Hey guys, give me a bit. Let me just go grab something from Mrs. Digi. I'll be right back. Stand by. Try not to be too loud. BRB. Okay, kids, I am back. Just had to pick up a box for Mrs. Digi. She's coming in. Um, I think I'm definitely going to be just doing this flight and taking it easy the rest of the evening. I'll probably, game a little bit and just chill out, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I don't overextend. I would say another flight to St. Pierre at a minimum would be like 45 minutes, and we're coming up on like 7 o'clock right now. So that'd be like, 7, 8, 8:30. By the time I wrap up and like, work on making any food or anything like that's gonna be like almost 9 o'clock. So the timing is like perfect for me to chill. And speaking of timing, it's time to descend. All right, so 481 knots, almost 500 knots over the ground. Uh, about 2,000 feet per minute, I'd say is just fine. I would say. Okay, so descent, 462 knots over the ground. We're keeping up a pretty, somewhat constant rate of descent. We're bleeding off a little bit of speed because we're not descending as quickly to maintain a certain velocity. So I'm going to add a little bit of juice back into the engines, not too much. I think I want to be somewhere around 240, 250 knots when we break through 10,000. I don't want to go too much faster. But yeah, 2,000 feet is going to put us probably at 2,000 feet a few miles out from the approach. So maybe 1,800 feet per minute would work. Yeah, I think we'll be fine for our approach. And it is definitely sunsetting now. Look at that sky, wow. Wow. Talk about golden hour. Dude, this is superb. Alright, we'll take a peek at the plane outside. Earphone warning, it's gonna get loud. Oh, look at that, I forgot to turn the landing lights off. Hang on. Look at that. Sheesh. That's beautiful. That was absolutely poetry. Okay, so let's square up with what the approach is going to be. We're going to be coming into the ILS runway 3 approach at Ukobo. We cannot go faster than 210 knots, which will barely be a problem with this aircraft. But yeah, I think it's a 210 knot restriction, then 5 nautical miles to Villeray, make a left turn, line up with the approach, and then we'll be at 2,000 feet at that point. Pilku will be the last approach fix. That's going to be 1,380 feet, roughly 1,400 feet. And then if we go missed, we're going to go fly straight out to 3,000 feet and probably turn left once we hit 3,000 feet and go back to Pilku and try it again. Okay, I don't think we're going to run into a problem with icing at this point, so we should be okay. Turn off the engine and wing protection. But yeah, I think I'd like to try a little bit more assembly programming for fun, or try creating some game stuff. I had a technical demo of like a Ninja Gaiden clone kicking around in like January, December, January. I might want to go back and like work on that some more. Add like cutscenes and have fun with it. I have a whole idea, just a basic knockoff of like Ninja Gaiden, just for fun. Like I'm not trying to do it for a hop, like for a new career. AAA game dev is not the place I want to wind up because reasons. I want to get back to how gaming was in like the shareware era, where you could still buy shareware games at like a store, either in plastic bags or like, you know, get like those discs that came with magazines, where you could just like install from a floppy disk. Because that's what speaks to me. That's my solid remembrance of days gone by. Seriously, that's my time. All right. We are not going to land. I don't know if we're going to land with the sun. We might. I don't know. I don't know. Even if we don't, I'll turn back time a little bit so we can see what Charlottetown looks like with the sunset. But thank you to everybody that tuned in today and hung out for today's flight. I am not going to be going on to St. Pierre this evening. If I do, it'll be off stream. I'm gonna, get up once I'm done with this flight and be tempted to make myself a third cup of coffee. Maybe I will. I don't know. Probably not. Make some tea, maybe. Grab some food, and just make sure that everything is cool. Again, like I said, no stream tomorrow. No chance of that happening, and I'm looking forward to spend time with family and hopefully launching into this week with some renewed purpose. I hope that this works out. I hope that things work out nicely, but I don't know how this week's gonna go. Yahweh does. So from Saint Pierre, I see. Okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. What's that? Yeah, your phone. Okay, so we got some time. All right. All right. Almost set. We're going to be transitioning through flight level 180, which means back to local pressure for Barrow. And we are sub 18,000 at this point. Altimeter 3050. And we will get ready for our arrival into Charlottetown. Give me about like 15 more minutes and we'll be there, I think. 15, 20 minutes max. All right. BRB one last time, and then we'll go land. Alright folks, I'm back. Let's go ahead and make sure we're squared up for our approach. We are at just below 15,000 feet. We're going to need to be around 2,000 feet for our approach. We're going direct runway 3 right now, but we do need to select our approach. ILS 3. the initial approach fix of Ukobo. Minimums are going to be, I thought I said 360. And let's go ahead and activate the approach now. And now we're going to turn into the approach. And make sure our seatbelts are on. We're just above 250 knots, so we can slow down a teensy bit, but I'm not that big of a stickler for speed limits at 10,000. I'm not worried about it. It is going to be an evening arrival, so I probably will scale the graphics, scale the time back once we actually get there. There is a bit of weather over Charlottetown right now. Actually, quite a bit of weather. We got some rain. Actually, let's take a look at the weather report. Charlottetown weather, we have winds 350 at 8, clouds broken 1,600. Well, I think real world weather isn't reporting any rain, but looks like we do have some radar there, so I would expect some precip. We're coming up on 10,000 feet, so I'll turn on my landing lights now. And yeah, I think we're good. What's our airspeed right now? 3.5, and we need to be at 2,000. We need to be 210 knots. So actually, we're gonna go idle and increase our descent rate. 2,400 feet per minute, which would be close to 2,500 feet per minute if we were going 500 knots. I just want to make sure that we actually get to the approach at the appropriate altitude. All right, strap in, everybody. When we turn to final, I will go to approach mode and activate approach mode and switch CDI to VOR, which will tune in the ILS frequency, which will allow us to have a glide slope that we can follow down to the ground so we can land safely at Charlottetown. Charlottetown Airport is basically going to be at our end of the runway. So if I land fairly slow, I should be able to slow down in time, provided I don't float like I did last time. But if we do, we'll just back taxi down 03 and then turn right at Charlie, and then we will be at our destination. All right, where are we right now? We are 6,300 feet and dropping, and that means we'll definitely make a Kobo at 2 grand. Wow, it got dark quick. But I mean, I'm also flying into clouds, so. Okay, no traffic in the area. Some precip in the area, though. Hey, Nick, good to see you, my friend. We're in the dark because we're landing at night at Charlottetown in Prince Edward Island in Canada. But we flew out of Quebec City today in the Phenom 100. I'm hoping the winds aren't as bad as they were at Burlington last time. But again, let's just double check the weather. Yeah, the winds are way calmer. Way calmer. So we should be fine. We should be fine. All right. Winds are 350 at 8. All right. We are really going fast. Sheesh. It's okay. We're going to peel off at 2,000 feet, and then we're going to drop a whole bunch of speed off really fast, which is great, because we need to be 210 knots. Looks like we're bleeding speed off with a quickness. This plane does not have speed brakes or thrust reversers, so it behooves us to make sure we're not going too fast. Okay, 210 knots, and we made it before our initial approach fix. Once we turn at Villery, we will go to approach mode and switch over to the localizer glide slope on the VOR. And now, after flying at about, 480, 490 miles an hour, this feels slow. But fortunately, we don't have like more than 5 nautical miles to our next waypoint, and we're going to be turning before we even get there. We took off with 2,400 pounds of fuel, and we're at just below 1,600. So actually we used more than I expected. We actually used 800 pounds of fuel to date to this point. All right, we are coming into the approach. How are we doing on the lineup? Oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Okay, 45-degree angle. I'd say we confirm at this point. I'm going to activate approach mode and turn on the ILS. Localizer alive. Localizer captured, waiting for the glide slope to come in. I would estimate we're probably somewhere around 8,700 some odd pounds. And we have ground contact. That's dope. I thought we wouldn't. Okay, we are below. I guess we're below the clouds. There's our airport. Waiting for the beam to come in. There it is. Diamonds in. Give me the landing gear, please. I figure landing speed's probably going to be around 120, 130. We'll take flaps 1. Alright, full idle. Give me flaps 2. And flaps 3. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're still diving and driving at this speed. Don't know if my cat's knocked something over, chat. I'm about to break immersion temporarily. I'll be right back. Just saw your comment, Tyro. It's hilarious. All right, we should be fine now. I think 120 knots should be good for our approach. I think. Okay, 700 feet. Oh, man, give me my throttle, boys. 500. By aircraft. Winds are almost down the nose. I think we should be okay. Actually, we can go a little bit slower. We're fine. Still on the beam. Okay. 150 feet. 40. Got the throttles. Coast it down gently. Just afloat. There we go. Beautiful. Just left the center line. Not going that fast, so we can back taxi real fast. Welcome down, everybody. We just missed the taxiway because I think we went long. We went just past the other markers. But we got it down. Beautiful. Welcome to Charlottetown. Coming up on taxiway Charlie right now. Let's pull up to the terminal. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, just a little under an hour for total flight time. And now we can have our pick of, I think, taxiways. Excuse me, terminals. Let's go to the FBO side. All right, slow it down. Slow it way down. So where is it? Oh, right there. There we are. Welcome to Charlottetown, everybody. Let's go ahead and turn time back a little bit just so I can see things better. It's 8:18 p.m. local time, but I want to see what's going on. Let's get the chocks and GPU installed so I can turn the engines off. Okay, bleeds off, and that's it. Actually, bus tie auto, but we can turn the fuel pumps off, and that'll do it. And welcome down. Here we are. We turn the lights off, turn the cabin upwash on so our friends can exit the plane. Strobes can come off, nav can come off. The plane is parked. And here we go. This is where we are at Charlottetown. A nice little freeware airport from flightsim.to. I have no complaints. I got it for free. I'm happy. And it's got a nice little bit of detail. Like I said, I'm happy. For the price of free 99, this is lovely. We came in on this runway, so you can tell what little room we had to stop. We didn't actually go that far past the taxiway, though. It was like only like maybe 30, 40 yards, and we turned right around. Um, Prince Edward Island is definitely maritime country. We're just north of Halifax by about maybe 100, 150, 200 kilometers. 300 kilometers, I'd say. Yeah, we're parked up here. And I don't think this terminal has an interior, but that's fine. That's fine. All right. Um, yeah. We'll call it quits here, and I think next time we're gonna fly out to Saint Pierre. If I do that, otherwise we're gonna leave from Charlottetown to either Halifax or start going down the east coast of the U.S. Haven't made up my mind yet, but that's about as far as I've gotten today. Folks, thanks so much for stopping by today. Really appreciate having all of you aboard for today's flight. A privilege to have you aboard as always. I do see a few of us are here, so tell you what, let's pass on the love to one of the folks that's streaming right now. Let's see who else is streaming and we can say hello to. Let's see. We've got quite a few folks streaming right now. Who can I actually pass this on to? Let's see. I would say mm, don't know. Two-Face, thanks so much for stopping in today. Love your soul, my friend. Let's see who we can raid. Let's see who we can raid. I'm looking. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Um, okay. Well, looks like we have, I think, a few people that are just getting started right now. Probably even more than that. But let's see. Looks like this person's getting started. Who else? Who else? I think that's fine, actually. We're going to rate somebody that I haven't rated before. We'll pass on love that way. Guys, for stopping in today. Have a great night. Like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday, and we celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior. There is an empty tomb in Jerusalem, and He made it all possible. Thanks, folks. Stick around for the raid, and we'll go say hi to 1-2 Ireland, 12 Ireland, who apparently is getting ready to do a GA flight right now. So stay tuned, and until next time, we will see you. Stay tuned to the Discord for updates onto the next stream. I'm doing pop-up streams these days for schedule reasons. Take care. Bye.